Welcome and welcome back to my channel, Booms Beauty. If you're new to my channel, my name is Juliana. In today's video, I'm going to be swatching the new palette from Cosmic Brushes, the Muse palette. And I'm also going to be doing some comparison with the two previous palettes that they've released. So the Royal Rose palette and the Serenity palette. But the swatches is going to be all about the Muse palette. I'm sure everybody's seen this palette, but just in case you haven't seen it, this is the inside of the Muse palette. So I got this palette on the second restock, or should I say the first restock. The first time they released the palette, it disappeared from my cart when they next restocked, and that was when I was able to get the palette. So yeah, we're going to be doing some swatches, so let's get swatching. Okay, as usual, I'm going to be going in rows, and I'm just going to be swatching as it is, whether it's matte, shimmer, whatever. I'm going to be swatching in row by row. Right, these are the first 4 shades. So this is the first shade on that row actually. So if I start from over here, so that one's pretty much close to my skin tone, so you're not able to see that. Okay, I built up the one close to my skin tone, but it's still close to my skin tone, so it's going to be quite difficult to see. So the 4th shade in the palette, and then the 5th, which I'll try and do upside down. So these are the first 5 shades in the palette. Now let's move on to the second row. Right, next 5 shades. So I'm going to start with the one on my thumb, which is the first shade in that row. Okay, I have to do that upside down. The next one, and second to the last in that row, and the last shade in that row. So this I find not too pigmented today, is what I had on the crease here. This pink is what I had on the crease here, so this pink actually showed up on me more than the mustard. I'm going to try and build that up. Okay, so I built it up just a little, and that's the mustard shade. Yeah, I find it not as pigmented as I would have wanted, especially on my skin tone. It could be because I'm of darker skin tone, yeah, but that didn't show up well on me. But these are the first 10 shades in the Muse palette. Alright, moving on to the next 5 shades from the 3rd row. So I'm going to try and swatch here. I have to do the other one upside down again. So that is the first shade. So I kind of spread it so that we can see it properly compared to the other shades. So 2nd shade in that row. Wow, that is really green. And that's the 3rd. Wow, that one is so pigmented in the last shade. So that's very close to the previous one I did, but yeah, that's it. That nice beautiful purple. I love that shade. I'm so looking forward to using that one. And then the last 5 shade with the first one, this one. If you're using it, be very careful. I just literally pressed my finger in it and everything just crumbled. So yeah, I had to press it back into the pan. But these are the last 5 shades, so I'm going to try and do it on this side. So that's the first one, the one that crumbled in the pan. Second one in that row. 3rd, 4th, and the last one. Alright, so those are the last 5 shades. So that was the 1st, the 2nd, the 3rd, the 4th, and the last one. Yeah, quite pretty much the 2 of the matte are pretty much light on my skin tone. This pink and this green, yeah, I'm not really showing as much as it should. But again, I'm of darker skin tone. I won't even say darker skin tone, maybe medium dark skin tone. There are people that are darker than me, so I don't know whether that would kind of like show up more on them. But anyway, on my skin tone, these are the swatches of the Muse palette. I mean, in theory, it is a beautiful color story. Definitely beautiful color story. I have no primer on my hand. That's just the way it is. And these are the swatches. Yeah, quite beautiful. I mean, I love some shades more than others, especially the light ones. I really don't care for them. The ones that won't show up on my skin tone. But I would say at least 17 shades out of the 20 in the palette I love. Okay, now that we've swatched the Muse palette, now let's do a little bit of comparison to the other palettes in the brand's collection. So this is the wipe I used to wipe the shade from my hand, and I don't know if you notice, there's actually no distinction in the colors that come off my hand. So basically you can see black. The bits that are green, you really can't see it on the tissue, and to me that means it lacks pigmentation. So definitely, if you are of a skin tone that is even darker than me, I'm not sure this palette will really have an impact on your eyes. I don't think so at all. With my experience with the shades I used today, so with these two looks, I use these two rows, and some of the shades are just not, some of the mattes, they are not impressive at all, that I can say. The colors are beautiful, but yeah, not really showing up on me, that I would say. So if you're darker than me, just be mindful. This is not a very pigmented palette. It's a beautiful palette, color story is beautiful, but so far the two rows I've used, not so pigmented. And wiping it off now, definitely I can see that it's not pigmented. The colors have more or less come off my hand, and I cannot see the colors on the wipes. Yeah, that is a very strange one. Okay, let's get into the comparison. So I'm going to start first with Royal Rose palette. So this is the Royal Rose palette, and this is the Muse palette. I mean, looking at the two palettes, I can't really see anything to compare, you know, within the two palettes. Yeah, they're very complementary of each other, but in terms of comparison, not so much. There's a purple matte in this palette, and there are purple shimmers in this palette, so you can easily use that purple with the purple shimmers in this palette. Yeah, so as much as there are some certain colors that are similar, the tones of those colors are quite different. So with the browns, with the kind of reddish maroon shade, you have one or two in the Muse palette as well, but they are of different shade. I mean, as you can see. So the one in the top row here, and then the one in the second row here. In fact, two of them. So one is darker than the other. They are quite different, but quite complementary of each other. So if you have this and you're considering buying this and thinking of how well they will work together, I definitely see them working to some extent together. I think the one that is most likely going to be compared with the Muse is the Serenity palette, but again, all of the shades are different. Here you have lots of green here, and you have lots of greens here, but they are all different tones. And again, you can see like a lilac-y purple in that one, where you have lilac-y shimmer in this. So they are quite complementary of each other, but they are not dupes. I mean, there is a darker mustard in this one and the lighter mustard in this one. So I would say again, if you have the Serenity palette and you're wondering if you should buy the Muse palette, yeah, I would definitely say yes, because they look so good together. Alright, now putting the three palettes together, you can see that they absolutely work together. So in creating the Muse palette, they definitely had a look at the Royal Rose, had a look at the Serenity, and made sure that nothing was duplicated, but at the same time, Muse palette complementing these two palettes. So yeah, beautiful collection, beautiful shades, I would say, definitely beautiful. In terms of whether you need this palette or not, I think that's gonna be like a personal question, in the sense that, are you looking to kind of complement, you know, the other two palettes if you've got the other two from the brand, or is on its own, is it that beautiful and is it that unique to buy? Yes, the color story is unique, but I would say the experience I've had with the formula of this palette today, I'm a little bit disappointed. The color story I absolutely love so much. If nothing else, looking at this palette physically is actually more beautiful than any picture that I've seen, but I'm not impressed with the formula of the mattes at all. The shimmers, oh my days, they are lovely and beautiful. The shimmers I've used on both eyes today, absolutely beautiful. And the ones I've swatched, because I've not used the lower, as at the time I'm filming this, I've not used the two rows at the bottom. So my experience really in terms of my eyes is based on the top two. So far with the swatches and what I've done on my eyes, I'm not so much impressed with some of the mattes. Yeah, some have been absolutely beautiful, especially this one. I have this one on this eye, and this one was so pigmented and blendable and just beautiful. It was dissolving on the eyeshadow primer. With this one, absolutely not. I put it on my crease, and when I tried to build it up, it was kind of like I had fallout, and it was falling over the green as I tried to build the green up. Even this green wouldn't really build so well. I don't know how to explain it. The formula of this one is so different, yeah, to the other matte I've used today. The pink, yeah, not too bad either. The pink was actually, it surprised me. I thought it wasn't going to be pigmented or it wasn't going to show up on me, and it did. And it was soft and very blendable. I don't know what it was, whether it was the brush I used, but yeah, I didn't really enjoy this green, especially this one and the mustard. I did not enjoy it today. In my next look, I'm going to be using the other two row, and I'll be able to give my final opinion on this palette. It will be a 4-look video, so I wanted to do the swatches separately and do it first. So my next video is going to be about the looks I create from this palette, and it's definitely going to be a 4-look. So I've done 2 and the other 2 is coming up, so I will give my overall review of this palette after that video. Alright guys, that brings us to the end of today's video. I hope you've enjoyed my swatches, and I hope you've enjoyed seeing all the 3 palettes together. If you've enjoyed this video, please like it, share it, and subscribe to my channel. And until next time, I'll see you.